So listen, we have our semi-finals at least.
Yeah, and the first of them, which we'll get into the preview now, is Wasps v Bristol, which will take place at the Rico. Wasps having earned second place and therefore have home advantage. It's going to be on Saturday, 10th of October, and kickoff is 1:30 p.m. Nice early afternoon game.
Yeah, both games on Saturdays. So we have that going. Wasps Bristol, man, this is a good
exciting
game.
Fixture. They both play lovely footy.
Yeah, indeed. Listen to this. They played in the Rico Arena September 13th. 59-35 it finished in favour of Wasps.
Yeah.
Now there was a few changes in the Bristol team, but I mean these teams are going hell for leather. Wasps are in insane form. They've won 8, I think, of 9 games.
Jimmy Gopperth playing fantastic footy for them at the moment with 10, marshalling things. He dominated Saracens. He's
playing at 12 a lot of the time as well with Fekitoa, and they have Jacob Umonga in at 10 as well. It's a lovely balanced team, and they play just ruthless attacking rugby. They've been racking up scores on all kinds of teams, Exeters and Saracens. Won 8 of 9 games since lockdown. A thoroughly delicious centre pairing in Jimmy Gopperth and Fekitoa that is just opening teams up. That like the box office of this game knows no bounds. Radradra up against Fekitoa as we have up there. Yeah. That battle in the 13 channel with teams that love to play wide and love to attack. Literally on O&D, that is one of the crucial battles, and they're two awesome players in great form. And Radra, one of the European, despite not playing in the Champions Cup, he's nominated for European Player of the Year.
Yes,
so good.
I'm not sure if that's ever happened before. It's awesome, but he is a one of a kind kind of player. And there's a lot to love about Bristol's team as well. Pat Lam has them playing with such verve and optimism. Callum Sheedy's form over the last few
much better,
years, unbelievable, and he's earned himself a Wales call up for it. It's very exciting. But they both try and play with tempo and verve, and it'll be just curious to see who gets the better of it. One of the bad news bits for Wasps is that they've lost. They are suffering a bit of an injury crisis, but one of the big ones is Joe Lashbury, Captain Joe, who is their rock solid platform off the line out, as well as a big hefty unit. He's like your quintessential English lock forward. He's very industrious, very physical, does a lot of work for them. It'll be tough to see them adjust without that. He is such a stalwart for them. But that being said, they still have the likes of Thomas Young, Brad Shields in the back row, kind of dynamic players to try and make some plays happen.
Yeah, no question. I mean, what they have is just they have a lovely shape and a lovely confidence, and they're scoring and they're creating line breaks and finishing tries all as a unit. I mean, Shields is involved in that. Gopperth, Fekitoa, as we've talked about, but the whole team has had just a lovely balance to it in recent times. They've obviously, like everybody, they've had to transition guys in and transition guys out. But they managed to do so pretty seamlessly, and all of them really on the same wavelength as far as finding tries. You got Manozzi, Kibarigi actually at 14 has been really good for them. But they're all hunting tries. They're all on the same wavelength, and they're playing with pace, which is crucial as well. So, like Bristol, it's a team that's hunting tries. Only arguably they've been doing it more efficiently.
Yeah, possibly true. Certainly since lockdown, because they've been in stellar form. When they have the ball, obviously they will be looking to attack them out wide and through the middle. It'll be curious to see just which pack gets on top in the tight as well, because I think both of them have been victim of a bit of bullying on occasion. You'd have to kind of edge the home team and the form team
it's just
with that,
it's
but
just the form. That is the sort of interesting dynamic in it, is that Bristol have, they have Chris Vui obviously plays for Samoa, but he can be a brilliant lock when he's at his best. Stephen Luatua is a rangy character who's very
and a really
useful
good stalwart for them.
But I think actually the crucial area where they'll be looking to edge it, and it's an interesting battle. You got in Wasps colours, you got Thomas Young and Shields, but in Bristol colours you got Nathan Hughes, obviously former Wasps man, and at number 8, and you got Ben Earl at 7. And both of those guys are really hunting an English jersey. They're possibly losing ground a little bit, but Ben Earl in particular has had a great season. He's super physical, he's disruptive at the breakdown, he's a determined ball carrier and an awesome defender. So I think that Ben Earl in particular could be a game changer for Bristol in terms of edging that forward battle and getting on top of it.
Ideally, yes.
But I really do think this is going to be a shootout.
For sure, and just like Speaking of defensive responsibilities for Wasps, obviously it's going to be a shootout. We're going to look at how both sides, or we looked briefly there at how Wasps are going to try and attack. Obviously, get their Umonga and Gopperth getting the Umaga even and Govrith distributing, Fekitoa hitting lines. They want to bring speed.
And this battle right here, Radradra is one of the best offensive players perhaps we've ever seen.
Yeah.
But on defence, he's had his moments. Like he can shoot out of line. Sometimes he can lose focus. And with a guy as sharp as Fekitoa and a couple of distributors as sharp as Umaga and Jimmy G. They're going to be looking to put Fekitoa into space and looking to exploit perhaps some of Radradra's worst tendencies if he can switch off.
Yes.
So that's definitely a fun dynamic, and I think Wasps will back themselves to attack that channel
for sure.
And obviously this big man may rise to the occasion on D as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, like how do you defend that if you're Bristol?
If you're Bristol, well, it involves reining in your instincts and making good reads and good tackles from the point of view of Radradra. Like it involves.
Certainly it could be game killing because both Fekitoa and Radradra are guilty of the South Sea Island not stooping too high collision, which is getting overly not overly, it's getting punished these days. It's getting cards. It's a red card automatically if it's a thing, and it has to be mitigated down. So you want to see proper tackle technique. Actually, Fekitoa had a textbook tackle a few weeks ago of shooting up out of the line and getting right under the rib cage and just stuffing a play. You want to see that. You want to see good reads and good technique, because if it's a little loose, and that's what the pace of both of these teams. It is a likely scenario because both teams are trying to play fast and wide. When you're reaching for a tackle, you're more inclined to be a little sloppy, especially if you're a big cumbersome lock forward finds himself in the wide channels. Just rein that arm in. Don't go reaching, because you could a yellow card sin bin period. Both of these teams will back themselves to execute against 14 men.
The thing that Pat Lam has to be talking to his boys about now over the next couple of days as well is 59 points the last time they played Wasps. 59 points conceded. Now there were some changes, but they have to defend much, much better. They have to, first of all, in the tight areas, they cannot soft out of contacts. No. They have to be up in Wasp's face, making it awkward for them. Ben Earl, as we say, getting in there.
See the likes of Nathan Hughes step up, because certainly with ball in hand, he's a very enthusiastic runner and grinner. You'd like to see him put his weight around a bit more on D for sure, and he'll need to.
I think this is a huge little litmus test here against this very good informed Wasp side. This is a good litmus test for both of those guys, Ben Earl and Nathan Hughes, as far as their England credentials are concerned. Yeah. You know, they may miss out on the squad. There's such competition in the back row now in England that's intimidating for both of those guys. And, you know, this is definitely a big challenge. They can make a Premiership final, make a statement, manage to knock off a really informed, great looking side when they're in their home ground in the semi-final at their pump. That's the huge challenge, and I think that is the area where they have to get up. But then also Bristol just at times can be, you know, sort of like an old school Super Rugby team, just a little too happy to have it turn into a shootout where you don't offer enough on D and you just want the ball back so you can attack. And you know, they need to not let Wasps get cheap scores. They need to get into their face. They need to harass Umaga. They need to make Goppert make his decisions much quicker. And obviously Radradra needs to just shut Fekitoa down, just always be in his face and never give him an inch.
That's got to be the game plan for them. It's definitely possible. They will be up for it. They will be up for it is one thing. Like their progression, Bristol's progression over the last few years has been stellar. Pat Lam has brought them back up from the Championship. They competed well in their first year up without quite making the grade, and now here they are a season later in the playoffs. It's fantastic stuff. It's a brilliant journey. It's pretty impeccable stuff. This is a tough test for them now in the Rico against a really informed Wasps.
It is a tough test, and the key to it, as with all Pat teams, we want to see them shut them down, but where they make their name is in attack, and they move the ball really, really well. It's very
Randall Sheedy, very quick, nippy halfback combination.
It's very All Black based. You know, he just gets players in the distribution roles. It's an interesting one. Randall and Sheedy, they have very little responsibility on their shoulders. All that they're doing is supplying a tempo for Pat Lam's guys to play with their instincts. He pushes. He does have good shape to him. He puts guys like Luatua, rangy back rowers out in the wing, and he tries to move it around. But basically, he's just going wide with tempo, and then trusting his guys to get to execute and exploit the good matchups when they get them.
For sure,
like Radradra as well. Like from a Wasp's point of view on defence, you know, fronting up against Radradra is obviously crucial, and sometimes his worser instincts can kick in on the ball, and he can look for that contact perhaps a little too much instead of, you know, sucking in and moving the ball on. But, you know, when he's at his best, He's just brilliant and so difficult to contain and so great at isolating the weak points and getting runners on the ball. And they're getting really, really good at playing off him. They're getting really good at running off him, expecting that offload.
Yeah, well, their support lines, actually, both of these sides hit great support lines. That's why they tend to score such lovely tries and such high scoring games. They are very, very adept at scoring. So like where it could come down to is little factors like the defense getting an edge or the set piece. We haven't quite mentioned the set piece. Both of these teams have pretty good assets in that area. Certainly Sinclair has been a great acquisition for Bristol this year. He really has added a bit of a grit to their scrum that was definitely lacking last season.
Yeah, and the engine room is missing Joe Launchbury from a Wasps point of view.
That's true. They will fancy attacking that scrum.
Sinclair's a nice aggressive scrummager from tight edge. You're getting more and more of those these days, and certainly they should be looking to get an edge there.
Yes, for sure. That's one area where you may notice Launchbury's gap in Wasps is if they do start getting that edge at scrum time, it'll be there.
Well, Launchbury's crucial at line-out, but with or without him, their line-out maul has been pretty great. And actually, if you watch back that game, that 59-35, there were a good few successful mauls that Wasps had against the Bristol pack. So that'll be an area Wasps will be really going for as well.
Target for it. And
big job for Bristol to try and shut down.
The likes of Vui has to get his hands in there, and it's a tough ask. He can be very good
at times.
Otherwise, he can be very loose. If they're getting if Wasps are edging it, that's when the penalties and the looseness will come in. The other question mark is Thacker. Like, I have a lot of time for Thacker. I like his hustle at 2 for the hooker for Bristol. He's great in the loose, industrious. He just he moves like a turbo hobbit or a Duracell bunny, but he plays miss him. He drops balls every now and then. Certainly his line out darts can be suspect at times.
He had one bad play, which I think probably is the one that initially turned him against you, where he was in the open field and he had a 2-on-1 with Radradra picking an inside line, and he dummied it. He tried to dummy and take the outside and just got tackled and blew the chance.
That's no good. But I can see why Pat likes him, because he's honest as the day is long. Works very, very hard. Runs all day long, which is lovely for a hooker. Question mark over the darts. He'll need to be accurate. They do like to play off the top of the line out a bit, to give them space out wide to set that tempo. So he'll need to be on it. It's a semi-final, finals footy. They all need to be on it.
In terms of how you think it's going to play out.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a ding-dong battle. It won't be as high scoring as the previous fixture with the 59. Obviously, it's semi-finals footy.
Both offences will get plays off and score tries.
Yes, I think there will be tries for each team. I am going to vote with my heart and say that Bristol get the job done, because I am a Bristol fan for the remainder of the season. I really want them to go the whole way and do it. They're my favourite team of the bunch left. And plus, just like Pat Lam, I love the soul of the club, whereas Wasps I've had my problems with the Rico Arena, the casino funding it, all of that stuff. I'm not a huge Wasps fan, but there's no denying that they play some lovely footy and they're in great form. I probably make Wasps slight favourites, even though I think Bristol are going to do it.
I think probably Wasps. I think the biggest deciding factor is whether or not Ben Earl in particular can really get on top of the Wasps pack. But with Thomas Young and Brad Shields in there, I think Wasps are just playing that bit sharper and that bit crisper, and I don't know if Bristol's defence is as good as Wasps' defence. And I think Wasps might, especially with their better halfbacks as well. Jimmy Gopperth in at 12 is probably the best 10 on the pitch. I just think I expect them to play the smarter footy, the sharper footy, and just to edge that contest, if I'm honest. That's my thought.
Okay. Well, hopefully.
But I think it'll be a shootout. I think there'll be tries both sides. I think there'll be at least one moment for each of these guys when they're in the open space. And I dare say there'll be fun highlights.
I think it'll be, as far as highlights are concerned, I think it'll be the marquee fixture.
No
for sure.
question.
But with that, thank you very much for watching that video. If it's your first time here, please leave a like and subscribe down below, and leave a comment as well if you enjoyed it, because we enjoyed the conversation.